OTAN, Outreach and Technical Assistance Network.
So welcome. I know we're a really small group, so it's going to be a really interactive session. Feel free to ask questions as we kind of go through our presentation today. So I'm really here to kind of, bring this idea of creating teacher leaders through our OTAN DLAC Academy, and we'll go over what that is and what that entails. So we'll start today's presentation. So one of the things that I always think about is how technology has really changed. Right? How much we have changed throughout the years. Thinking back to my elementary school days, we had one computer for the entire classroom, right? It was one computer, the entire classroom just had that one where we all kind of sat around and helped each other navigate it, right? To kind of transitioning to a place where, we can't graduate from high school without typing 35 words per minute. Right? To now utilizing our phones for everything. I just got a chance to ride in a brand new Tesla, and that was another experience, that huge tablet. Everything is so electronic, right? I went to Home Depot and refrigerators have a tablet now, right?
What?
They have a tablet, and I found out these brand new refrigerators, they connect to your phone. So you could do like a list on your refrigerator of what you need from the grocery store, and it communicates and it tells you what to shop for. So I thought that was really interesting. But technology has truly, it continues to revolutionize the way we work with AI now. It continues to revolutionize everything around us, medical, healthcare, everything, right? Our education system. So today, I found this new word, audacious. So today we're going to talk about our breakthrough, right? Audacious. So what does that mean? Who can help me with that vocabulary word? Our English teacher. What does that mean?
So it's like out of the ordinary.
Yeah.
And it's unapologetic.
Yes.
Ordinary.
So today we're going to have a really, this conversation that's going to give us a breakthrough, hopefully, to revolutionize the way we see technology, right? So Daisha is showing the willingness to take a surprisingly bold risk. How many of us do that on a daily basis, right? Yes. As instructors, I think we're always we have this willingness to take these risks. So I wanted to start with so we're going to just kind of do our little group here. But I wanted to start with a question. If we had to dream big, if funding was not an object and the sky was the limit, what would technology look like at your school? So we had to just kind of think outside the box, right? What do you foresee, or what would be your dream for technology at your school? What do you guys think? And I think we have Josh too, if he wants to join in from online. Yes.
Interactive TVs.
Interactive TVs would be amazing. I like that idea. Anything else?
Well, I was thinking what you were saying, Yecsenia, about like the Tesla. Maybe in some way the classroom could just be some sort of like technology, like the walls would be technology or something. Like
that would be amazing. Yeah, totally. Any other ideas?
Maybe the students had access to technology, even if they're not at the school location.
Wow.
So technology, and there's all this virtual teaching and hybrid, and just students having access to what they would have in the classroom.
Right. Awesome.
Another comment from Josh.
So Josh, a working computer, not a cheap Chromebook, with full internet connection for every student. That would be amazing, right? The Chromebooks have limits, right? And I think as part of adult education, we kind of bring this mix of so many different students from so many different backgrounds, so many different socioeconomic areas. But even at McDonald's, have you guys seen those huge iPads at McDonald's now?
Mm-hmm.
You don't go up to you do go up to the counter where there's usually a long line, or you order from this huge iPad to get, your self-service. So I think it's kind of become a fundamental key aspect of every adult education class to teach our students not just to speak English, not just to improve their adult secondary skills, or not just in career technical programs, but also to teach the language of technology. How do we use it in our everyday lives, right? So let's keep that thought in mind. How would we like technology to work in our schools? So why teacher leaders? So really, I'm here to present to you our DLAC Academy. And DLAC Academy is really a place where you take a goal and we help you implement it at your school over the next 2 years. So why teacher leaders? Why do we need teacher leaders? So technology is not just about introducing those new gadgets to our classroom, right? It is about really learning how to use these tools to help learning in general. But then I also feel like it kind of gives our students that edge of learning how to use that technology. Teacher leaders serve as the bridge. So you are the specialist in the classroom. You know what your classroom needs. Josh knows that he doesn't need a Chromebook. He needs an actual computer to make sure it works for his student needs. But teacher leaders really serve as that bridge between administrators, students, and change, right? We are the ones that advocate and speak up for the change that our students need. What do we need in our classroom? We have to look around and see, is this a 21st century classroom? Do we see it differently? And then ask to advocate for what we need in our classrooms today. So really, our teacher leaders become change agents. We're going to be able to influence positive change, have a voice within our classroom community. And then it's essential for that culture of growth, right? Without our teachers that are those teacher leaders that are advocating for our students, our classroom isn't going to grow. We're going to have the same table and chair, right? We're not going to have these beautiful computer labs that allow us to teach what we need. We also contribute to professional development, and we're advocates, not just for our students, for our classroom, for our schools themselves. So through the DLAC Academy, my goal would really be to create these future change agents that are able to communicate back to, your administrators, that are able to communicate back to the different agencies that have those needs, that are able to bring up a new tool, right? We all use like these secret tools in our classroom that we need to share with each other to improve. So DLAC, so today we're going to talk about DLAC, which is a 2-year professional development academy. I'll share a little bit about OTAN, why the academy is 2 years, the history of projects, the application process. So hopefully if you want to apply, this is the time to apply or to start thinking about applying. What are our stats and our time commitment, ideas for our projects, and then celebrations of some of the projects that have been completed through DLAC. So all of you know OTAN. If not, you wouldn't be here, right? What's our favorite thing about OTAN? Who can help me? What do we like about OTAN? Or what resources do you use most out of OTAN?
So we use training. So we have, hello. We have you subject matter experts come to our campus to help us do the training. So we don't have to reinvent anything. It's already there, and there's someone who knows exactly what to do and what to talk about and how to answer questions.
Yeah,
So
definitely. Have you ladies used any of the OTAN resources or first conference?
Yes. In my case, I attended symposiums, but then I've also had attended sites. And then they've done online training. They also do like the info sessions at our business meetings firms.
Awesome, thank you. Anything you want to share? Together?
Yeah.
Okay, are you guys from the same agency?
No.
No, different, okay. Awesome, so yes, OTAN is here to help you. So we offer training in person or online. There's news digest, so if you go to our website, there is tons of resources that you can pull from. Lesson plans that are already made for you, right, that you can just pull out and use for your classroom. There is different partnerships, different curriculum offers that we're able to offer. And I think one of the things that we talked about in our last one is, we have a learning management system through Canvas that you can use for free through OTAN. So why long? So we think 2 years. 2 years is a long time. It's a commitment, right? It takes 2 years to get a master's. Through the Leadership Academy, you're really getting a master's in leadership and technology integration. That's really what you're doing. It's your master's degree in technology integration and, leadership. And really, we know some of our studies show that behind a great team is a strong culture, great leadership, and compassionate, committed people. One of the things that OTAN really, or the DLAC Academy really brings together is these professional individuals that are passionate about technology, and we get to network with each other. We get to build these ideas of each other. And there's nothing more powerful than individuals that have that same passion working together to help each other meet their goal. So we kind of bounce ideas back from each other. And then one of the things that the program or the Leadership Academy helps you develop is that accountability for your project. Whatever that goal is, we're meeting, quarterly, we're meeting, twice a year in person. So you kind of have this accountability where you are reporting back and you're accountable for your goal that you're trying to accomplish. So the teams, generally, if you would like to be part of our OTAN team, are from California. So it's really diverse. They're from all sections of California. So basically, we build those skills and we plan, develop, and implement a distance learning technology program. So whatever your goal is embedding that technology into your program. We help you develop that. And I'll explain how we do that through our next couple of slides. So the professional development program has been available for the last 30 years. It's changed names throughout the course. So we started with Instructional Technology Assistance Project, and currently today we're known as the DLAC or Digital Leadership Academy. Our application is competitive. So it's an open application process. Teams are generally 2 or more team members from your school. Administrators are really encouraged to be part of the team. They do not have to be directly involved in the team as coming out, to the different events that we have, but they really have to have a role because we want to create that change within your school. So there's a lot of discussions, a lot of changes that'll happen that we really want them to be involved as part of the application and as part of the project, even if they're not part of the team that is completing this goal. It is a 2-year commitment. The best part is the costs are covered by OTAN. And then part of the cost will be your agency. So the only thing the agency is paying for is your time, right? Your hours, the commitment hours for the program, but OTAN will pay for the expenses of you coming down to Sacramento, your conference expenses. So all of those expenses are going to be covered through the academy. So your agency, it's really cost effective to your agency because all they're paying for is your regular teaching hours that you would be in the class while you do this project. So the key thing for the applications is we require a strong outline. So we want you to plan your project as a team. So this is the perfect time to start to think about what do we need to accomplish as a team, right? What do we need? What is our goal? And who is going to be part of this team? And we want to be able to identify what our goal is. That's the key. What is our goal? Right? And we want to make sure we implement some type of technology in it. So for example, maybe you want to increase your program enrollments, right? But how are we doing that? How are we using technology to increase program enrollments, whether it's marketing, whether it's front-end registration? Do we want to, change our registration process? How are we using technology into that? So whatever your agency's goal is, it does have to implement some form of technology in order to help the learning or enhance the learning of our students. So we would need to embed it in there. And that's a discussion that we can have one-on-one if you're questioning like what your goal is and how do you embed technology into it. The program is a 2-year commitment. So so for example, our first year, you're going to be meeting in Sacramento 3 times. Okay, so usually our meetings in Sacramento are 2 days. It's like a Thursday, Friday. So you fly out to Sacramento during your first year 3 times, and then we have our online meetings. So basically, you'll be meeting with your team, with your coach, you meet like once a week. Monthly meetings are online through Zoom, and then you come out to Sacramento to meet with your cohort, your masters in professional development cohort, right? Your DLAC participants 3 times the first year. The second year, we have a few more online meetings, but there's only 2 meetings that we do in Sacramento. So a total of 5 trips down to Sacramento. And then between that, you have your online meetings, and we have TDLS where we have our DLAC participants come out to. So you'll be doing that twice wherever TDLS is that year. I think next year we're gonna be in Long Beach. So that's exciting. So again, the first year out in Sacramento 3 times, you have 4 online meetings and then your final presentation at the end. And then year 2, you're out twice only, with the rest being online meetings for your cohort. Part of the DLAC commitment is, so just like any master's degree, you have a course, right? We have our online course where we're actually learning about distance learning. We're learning how to implement distance learning programs into our classroom. We're learning how to develop an orientation process. So through that, there is an actual learning course that's done on, it's done on Canvas. Everything's embedded in there. There's like discussion boards, there's reading, there's assignments that you're gonna do with your cohort that help you with the goal that you have in mind for your students. So there's different assignments that are due. We have Ideal 101 that's done in year 1, and then Ideal number 2 that's done in year 2. And that's kind of our centralized place where we do discussions. It's a weekly assignment that's usually done where we connect with each other, get to know each other, and pretty much it holds everything for our academy in there. So through the long-term projects, it includes coaching. So you're gonna be getting a coach that's gonna help you through the process. Each agency has their individual coach. So why is it important? Because the experienced coaches are gonna be the ones that are gonna not handhold you, but they're gonna be your support systems. They're gonna be your facilitators. They're gonna provide that continuous support. They're the ones that you're meeting with once a week. They are the ones that will come out to your campus and help you with implementation of your goal. And then we also have project coordinators that will be helping you. And then really the outside expertise is giving you that fresh eyes into your project, right? Somebody not at your agency, but kind of that has experience, that has developed these programs in the past, and they can give you that advice. Any questions so far about anything we've discussed? Yes.
So if an agency applies, I know you encourage admins to participate, and you talked about teachers and the online assignments or Canvas due to teaching, using technology to teach. But what, if I'm thinking, let's say, orientation process, then that includes support. So, first is support staff, can they participate?
Yes.
And
Yes.
second is how is are the lessons adapted to their specific needs? Because if the Canvas is geared to teaching, then that won't really apply to the admin staff. So how would they?
It's
stay
learning.
engaged in the course if they're not applying it? I guess.
So we do have support staff that's currently in our cohort right now, that's working together with, the administrator and it's actually a counselor. So it just depends what your goal is. If it's enrollment process, then those would be individuals. They're learning the learning process, and that's still part of that enrollment process, right? How do we engage those students? How do we hook them to actually enroll in our programs and actually sign up? We all know that we get tons of interest, but out of those interests, only a few students actually complete the enrollment process and actually show up to class, right? So it's all that learning process, and they are gonna be engaged in the process because they're learning right along with us, and with your team together, you're developing all these different ideas. So it's not geared completely just to like a teacher in the classroom, it's more geared to learn the learning process, to learn, how do we work together as a team? The leadership part of it is really working together as a team. There's a really big focus on communication. And through that, we learn those customer service skills needed, and we learn how to communicate with each other to complete our goal together. So we have a good mix where there is front office personnel that's involved in that process. And then we have like our teacher department that's only teachers in that group. So every group is different and very individual to that goal.
And how many, I know you said at least 2 people, what's the max?
You know, I would have to check in with Meta, but currently we have groups of 4 and 5. So I think in your application process, you would fill that out and then I would confirm with Meta and then I can get back to you on that to make sure. I want to say she said 5 last time, but I need to just double check and make sure.
No worries.
All right, so we talked about the coaching. So there is a coach that goes along. These are some of our coaches and we have one here today. So these are some of our coaches that are experienced in the field. So we have Christina here today and she's an adult education instructor. She's actually a coordinator for Corona Norco and she works in adult education. I believe you do a little bit of counseling, right? Enrollment, no, teaching?
I do the registration and enrollment. And then I teach diploma, math.
And she is definitely a technology expert in her field. She's a Canvas expert, so she's the one that will come and do Canvas presentations for you. But a lot of our instructors have a lot of knowledge, whether it's ESL, they've been consultants for a long time, they've been coordinating. We have directors as part of our coaches that have been in directing positions. And a lot of us have been working hands-on in those projects, and we can, they will help you with that expertise that you need with your goal. So I'm gonna go over a little bit as my journey as a coach. So currently, I'm a coach for the DLAC Academy and I love it, right? You're part of a team. So as my experience as a coach has been really what I have seen from my team, which presented right before us, Clovis Adult School, is really, you know, you get to see these educators that have active roles outside of their classroom, right? We all work outside of our classroom days, you know, we're thinking away, but really what I've seen through them is the reshaping of practices, right? We, just like our main presenter was presenting yesterday, we're stuck with these ideas and the one way to do it. We've been enrolling the same way. This is the way it's always done, right? But how do we reshape those practices? And that's really where the Academy comes in, because you get to hear new, fresh ideas from all these individuals. They've become more tech savvy educators, where at first they were a little nervous about using new technology tools, to where now they kind of go at it on their own. They find a new tool and they're excited to bring it back to the team. They're teacher innovators, and really the most beautiful thing that I have seen out of them is the boost of confidence levels when they're using Canvas, when they're using that new technology tool. They've really increased their network because they've been able to work in the Academy. So you see them asking questions to all the other professionals in the team. But more than anything, with the visits that I have done to the campus, I've seen them become mentors to the other teachers on campus, right? They are the ones teaching the other teachers how to use Canvas. They're the ones teaching the other teachers how to use Kahoot in the classroom, like how to make an engaging presentation. So they've really become mentors through the DLAC Academy. As they're getting ready to graduate, they've really mastered technology in the, you know, in their specialty, and really learned how to integrate that into their classrooms and really show others at their school how they're using it. I know my team is on the CTE side, the career technical side, and they're the nursing department, but some of them are teaching the academic teachers how to use different tools that they're using in nursing. So it's pretty exciting to see them become mentors. You will also get training from Dr. Porter, and he is a leader, a skilled leader in time management, conflict management, mentoring, and coaching. And this is, you know, the leadership part of the training. So we're gonna learn through that training a little bit of time management. We're gonna learn how to resolve conflict within our own teams, right? How do we resolve that miscommunication? More than anything, he's there for mentoring and then coaching throughout the 2 years of the academy. You will also get access to Clifton Strengths, and Clifton Strengths is, have you guys used it before in the back? So yes, so what can you tell us about Clifton Strengths?
So it's really interesting because you find out through a series of personality questions, like where your strengths lie in terms of your personality and your work strength. So basically everything that makes you as a person strong and that could help contribute to a group. So for me, I think I'm relationship building, all 5 of my strengths are in one, whereas
Yeah.
everyone is like spread out in different categories. But it helps you see how your strengths play out as a teacher and as a leader and in creating your projects. So if you're ever wondering like, oh, I'm weak in this thing, but I'm strong in this thing, Dr. Porter will tell you to focus on what you're strong at instead of what you're weakest at, because there are other people who are strong in the places that you're weak, so you might as well do what you're really good at. So that's the Clifton strength I remember.
So it's basically a personality assessment.
Yeah,
That we take as part of the team to really hone in on what each other's strengths are, right? It's basically a personality assessment and it's helping us understand ourselves, but then also of team members. Christina, anything you would like to share about Clifton?
I was just gonna say, it was a huge self-esteem booster for me, like, I was on a team with 2 really super smart people, and I was kind of new to this whole thing, and I remember looking at my strengths and being like, well, how come mine aren't like those? But then as I started to identify those strengths in me and see how they added to the team in ways that my teammates didn't have, right? Like, for example, one of mine is input, which means that I just have a lot of useless information in my head, except it became super useful when we were in a meeting and neither one of my teammates had that at the fingertips, but I just had it memorized because that's what input does, right? I just remember things. And then I started to see through like these, identifying my strengths and how they were helpful to the team and how they were pushing the project forward, realizing that I could be a leader as well. I didn't have to have the assigned, on my resume, or I didn't have to have it say that in my official job title. Like, I could just be a leader from where I was standing.
Yes, I love it. So the Clifton Strengths is part of our leadership training, and it's used throughout the training to help us identify the key strengths, understand the key strengths. We've had a lot of agencies that actually bring it back to their agency, and their entire department does it. You know, I had one of my coworkers that actually used it with her family to like better communicate with their family members. So it is a great opportunity for us to get to know each other and to get to know ourselves as well. So some sample projects. So these are just a few sample projects that have been completed through our DLAC Academy. Mobile ESL enrichment, you know, transitioning from Moodle to Canvas, Canvas and Google in the ESL classroom, digitalizing your EL civics, right? Making those paperless, building bridge programs, accessible teacher training, or building a teacher development training for your school, right? Our last team is actually building a teacher PD program within Canvas that's specific to their campus and the needs of their campus. Online EL civics, high flex education, and then the teacher digital literacy training as well. So I started in DLAC with DLAC 2, so this is my journey. These were my team members. Susan was our coach, and we developed an orientation process. That was our key project. We were actually from different departments, so we kind of stranded our project and made it really big. But our main goal was really to develop an orientation process for our students, you know, where we had a really resistant team of teachers that didn't want to use technology. But what we really did through the DLAC Academy when I was a DLAC member was we took a completely paperless enrollment process to a completely digital enrollment process. So we created our registration form completely online. We created an online orientation process where we feed information to our students about CASAS testing, so then they come prepared. We pre-teach them how to do, you know, the classes online so they can do it from home. So they're ready. So once they come into test, they know exactly where to go. We also converted all of our EL civics to online curriculum in Canvas. So the entire co-op was completely in Canvas, paperless, grading, everything was done in Canvas. We developed Google Sites for our instructors. So we developed one main site, and then we created individual teacher sites where the student was just able to click on their teacher's picture, they would take them to the teacher's page. And then we converted parenting education to an online curriculum. That was one of my main projects. I basically took our in-person parenting classes and created an online, fully virtual academy for our parents. And we went from 300 students to 350 students at the end. So it was really amazing to see our parents using their cell phones to access parenting education videos and just different projects. But that was kind of like our 2 years. We had so much growth. And a lot of these 4 projects really came from working with the DLAC Academy, from the coaching, from us meeting and having those dedicated days where we met and made sure that we were working together. This is currently our DLAC 4. So this is these are gonna be our graduates this year. They'll be graduating this May. So this is our current cohorts that we're working with. This is our DLAC members for this year with their coaches. And why DLAC works. So professional development coaching model really works because you get to see those diverse perspectives, which we've kind of talked about. We complement each other's skills. We learn from each other. There's a difference. So one of the main things that I remember from being a DLAC member when I first started in DLAC 2 is leaving my first meeting and feeling empowered because there was so many resilient individuals in the room. But it was such a humbling experience. But walking out of our very first meeting in October, I was so motivated. It was like, we got to do this. We can do this. And we were so empowered. But there's this collective wisdom from the entire room of these dedicated individuals because everybody comes from different schools and different departments. There was an increased accountability because through our meetings, we're kind of reporting to our coaches. We're reporting back to our coordinators. How's our project going? What's the status? Like, where are we at? What step are we in? That increased accountability and it kind of forces you, right? Kind of like when you're in school, like if I give you a book, you know, it's like, okay, go ahead and read this book. I don't give you a timeline. It could take you 3 years to read that book or never read it, right? Or never open the page. But when you're in school and you know you have a homework assignment on chapter 1, you're gonna open it up. It kind of forces you to read it, right? So there's this increased accountability through the program. There's efficient problem solving because now you're meeting with your team, you're meeting with your coach. The motivation and support is really incredible through this process. And then the innovation, the ideas that come out. How do we turn our classroom into a 21st century classroom? So we really have seen, you know, long-term success. If you look at, you know, different coaching models, and we look at studies that follow coaching models, we really are able to see long-term success and stakeholder engagement in that process. Let's take a look. So we do have our applications that are opening up. Our next cohort is our 2024 cohort. Applications open next month. And that is your time to think of an activity, a goal, some type of, you know, something that you want to accomplish. How do we integrate technology into that? Find out who's your team, right? Who's going to be part of your team or who do you want on your team and talk to your administrator about it. Let them know how accessible the academy is, you know, how cost effective it is for them and what you're going to get out of it as well. So technology implementation, it's not just about the tools, it's about the leaders who guide the way, the teachers who embrace the change, and the students who benefit from their collective efforts, right? So it's not just about the tools. The tools are gonna help us develop something audacious, right? What was audacious again?
I forgot my exact definition, but I know
It's taking that bold risk, right?
Yes.
So the tools, right? Like taking that bold, that was our new word. So taking that bold risk and really the tools are just part of that success in the process, right? So what I wanted to do is we are gonna find, oh, yes.
You were mentioning about like having the group, you know, you prefer a support person, a teacher, and maybe an administrator from each site. You said, what if you're not able to get those people to come, but you are interested in it? Are you able to do it, you know, without having those partners from the site?
So you wanna look at the stakeholders but if it's just you, you need a team member and then an admin support. So the DLAC Academy works best when you're working on a project with two, and I think we had a question earlier, Netta, that you can help me with. What's the maximum amount of team members on one team?
So I will answer that two ways. One, it depends on the agency. Two, the maximum, if you're a local, if you're a local district or community college, the maximum is 4.
4.
Now, CDCR is in the cohort, this cohort, and they are massive, right? We're talking about the hundreds of thousands of students, right? Tens of thousands of students. So they have 6. And so we made an adjustment depending on the agency. Remember, you know, they have sites throughout California, so that's why. But I haven't seen a district go past 4, really, you know, even if they have like program areas, sometimes they'll say, we want 1 from ESL, 1 from ASC, 1 from CTE, or sometimes they'll say plus a classified support person. Sometimes it's, oh, I really want to do it. I'm going to bring in a partner from my ESL. It's 2 ESL people and they have the admin support and the admin doesn't have to participate. It could just be the 2. So no less than 2, no more than 4, traditional. And then if there's non-traditional, then we can talk about it.
Yeah, and it's finding a partner, right? Somebody that shares that common goal or that common interest, whether it means bringing in new applications into the classroom, whatever your goal is, finding another teacher and then coming together to your administrator to say, we want to do this project because we still need that admin support to help, even though there's only 2 on the team that are working together.
Yeah, we'll need to connect if it goes like,
I'm sorry?
she answered the part about that the administrator doesn't have to participate, you need someone to kind of sign off on it.
We always say our best teams results come with admin support in different forms. One form is being a part of the team. Second form is they sign off, but they're hands-on. You go to them, you meet with them, you talk to them about the project, you regularly update them. They know that you're being released to do the professional development. Those are the best results we see. If they're more hands-off and they're taking a back seat, you might feel a little challenged, and we will too, right? And so will your coaches. So it's best to get really that conversation going with your administrator to really see what their commitment's going to be. They can take the back seat certainly, but know that long-term good results will require them to at least be a cheerleader at the very least. Yeah.
And I think that's what happened with, when I was in DLAC too, our administrator was hands-off, but her goal was, you guys handle it, like, I just want more technology in the classroom, I want my teachers to use the Chromebooks. So whenever we went to her, you know, we worked as a team, but we would come to her and say, you know, we need support in this. She was really supportive. She gave us the tools we needed, or, you know, the funding we needed to buy new technology in the classroom. So she was really, really supportive, but totally backseat. Yeah, totally backseat. But when, you know, when it came to our project, she was supportive in what our outcome was going to be. And she expressed what she wanted to see out of that outcome as well.
And I would say Clovis is probably similar to that.
Yes.
You know,
Yeah.
she's, Yecsenia is a coach for Clovis right now, and their administrator is probably taking more of a backseat, but they're totally, like, if we go on a site visit, they know. They know what's going on, right? It's no surprise. Yeah.
Yeah. Any other questions about our DLAC Academy?
I'll just use another example since Christina's
Yeah.
here. Her team has active administrators on the team too. So can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, absolutely. So one of my teams is the principal or the director, I don't know what her, and then 2 classified staff. And then the other team who they're working together, it's the director of adult education, a counselor, and then her, I don't know if Pablo's classified.
Yeah.
So it's an interesting dynamic because there's no teachers on the team at all. But the goal, when they looked at what their plan was and what they needed to have happen, it really needed to be these people, because there's been things that teachers wouldn't know how to do, like MOUs and, you know, all the logistics and understanding like the data side of things and how to make sure that their measurable skill gains are getting met in their collaboration and shared students, so.
And there are district community colleges that feed into each other. And so it really didn't probably require an educator, like a classroom teacher. Those people were needed for that project when they applied for it that way. Again, it's tough. There's no real direct answer. We work with you on what that could look like. Thank you, Christina.
Any other questions? So I wanted to kind of dialogue a little bit about what kind of projects do we need at our campus? So remember, at the beginning, we thought really big, right? Like if funding wasn't a problem, the sky's the limit, what do we see our classrooms in? Right now, we're gonna find a matching thumb. It doesn't have to be perfect. You're just gonna find a matching thumb with someone. And what I wanna do is we are gonna identify a technology goal that would benefit your agency or department and why the goal is expensive. What's a goal that we have for next year or for the next 2 years, right? What is something you need in your classroom? What is a change that needs to happen? So we're gonna partner up by finding a matching thumb. So we're gonna have to move around a little bit and we're gonna get a few minutes to discuss or identify a goal that would benefit our agency or department. And then I'll work with our online individuals if that's okay. So since we have 4 in the room, we'll make 2 matching partners, hopefully somebody you don't know. Well, they don't know each other, but, or maybe just, if we can just collaborate together, maybe the 4 of you guys, if that's okay, since there's 4, and then I'll work with the online, and let's identify for each of our agencies, maybe something, even our coach and our member, there's new goals that we might want to implement into our school. So we're gonna come back and we're gonna share out really quick, and I know I have, Soledad Adult School, so what's a goal that you would like to implement at your school or at your agency that would benefit your students?
Like I was saying, what's always been a goal to implement throughout the year, but thinking of the new year. Again, at the beginning is to get the students to be comfortable using technology because as our students come in, they're like, they don't know how to send an email. All they know is how to open their phone, make a call, and that's it. Or sometimes just text. So it's like getting them comfortable with the technology at the beginning of the year, and then as time progresses, keep adding more things that they can be using, like them creating Google Slides, then creating a presentation, things like that with it.
And then we have Capital, what that's called?
Yeah, Capital Adult Ed. It's a
Consortium.
in Sacramento. So my thought would be, and I think most of my agencies would be very interested in streamlining their orientation process. And persistence and not just registering students, but so I really like what you said about like you're online and how you give potential students like fits before they're there. So I think that would definitely help with persistence because they know what they're getting into before they enter into. So it gives them a taste of what it's going to be like. And the other thought I was having is we have a small cohort of students co-enrolled in community college for high school diploma credits. And they're from different agencies, so I think it would be interesting to have, like our transition navigators, or at least a person to kind of follow them and support those students, because they're not a cohort in the sense that they're not in the same school, so they don't know each other.
Yeah.
So it could feel isolated for them, and it's new for them, so just maybe figuring a way to support them, in that process.
Yeah, and I think, for both of you, orientation, for students becomes so important. One of the things that we did through our cohort with the orientation was feeding those little pieces, but through orientation, we taught them how to log into Canvas, how to take their classes test, how to log into like Burlington English. So they had like all the steps for everything, but not only that, the teachers, once they go into the classroom, if the student's struggling, they send them right back to orientation. Right, so then the teacher it doesn't have to spend a lot of time, because then they'll say the student can benefit from orientation again, and they go right back and focus on Burlington English, or focus on Canvas, or focus on whatever technology. In that orientation, the students learn, like, you need to email your teacher. Does everybody have an email? So that orientation is usually like a 2-hour session, and they're usually small, just the new students coming in. And we have 2 levels, our higher level and then our literacy level. That's slower for our slower ESL learners, and then our intermediate high to high school students. So they both get the same at different levels, but it's a really good transition for students, to kind of help them, kind of their first day, which is scary, right? Coming to the school is scary on its own. And we have Corona Narco.
So we were kind of talking about orientation too, but if I were to go back to DLAC, I just became the diploma coordinator recently. And our curriculum is in need of a little bit of a refresh. And I would definitely bring that project, because as I do it at my agency, I am like the diploma person. And when you go to DLAC, yes, you're working with your team on the project, but you have 7, 8, 10 other agencies in the room who, while that may not be their project, that may be their strength. And you can draw on, you meet more people, you get more experience and more opportunities to collaborate with people outside of your walls.
Awesome. And then remind me, are you?
East side.
East side, yes.
Yeah,
I
East
knew
side
that.
adulthood in San Jose. So, it's our second year for DLAC, and we've seen so much progression, and now it's like, what's the next step? What's the next step? And we were talking about orientation and how, I was thinking that our student orientation should also be available online all the time, because we get ESL students coming all the time. And then we have students I teach in the high school diploma department program, and, there are students who come in halfway to the semester, or there are students who can't make it to a physical orientation. So having something online that shows where to take the test, where the bathrooms are, just basic orientation things. Who are the counselors? I need to take my CASAS test. Where do I go for that? So just things that would help our students. And also, if our students are able to use technology, it would kind of not pressure, but enable our teachers to try to meet them halfway too, because our teachers are resistant with technology. And our project was slowly trying to, chip away at that resistance at our school. So if we could get our students in on the technology train too, then our teachers would have to meet them halfway.
I
Awesome.
love that.
Thank you for sharing out some of your goals. I think definitely, now our next step would be to identify who are the stakeholders, right? Who do you want to be part of your team? Fill up our application, right? So we want that team, we want your goal, which sounds like all of us have some type of technology implementation goal involved in that. Filling out that application that opens up next month, and then having that discussion with your administrator, right? Like how is this gonna help us? I'm gonna open up the floor to any questions about the academy, and then we have 2 individuals here that have participated that can also help us answer. So any questions from you ladies? No, we're good. Yay. And then I think Josh is actually online, and he's also one of our participants in DLAC. Thank you for joining us, Josh. Anything you'd like to share?
It's been a great experience. I do recommend it for anybody who's trying to bridge that digital divide, or, sort of get your teachers enthusiastic about bringing technology into the classes. It was very, very helpful and fulfilling.
And then I'm here to help you guys. So this is my contact information. If you have any questions about your goals, if you have any questions about filling out the application, maybe you just want me to help you kind of navigate that application process. So one of the things that we did notice through the application, it is a competitive application, right? But some of the applications that don't get accepted is because they're not complete, right? So whoever is on your team, they're each gonna have to do their own application, and then your administrator. So I can help you with navigating through that process, maybe setting up an action item of like, these are the things we need for the application, make sure we have them. And that way you can apply and be part of our team for our 24-26 cohort. Yes, Krista.
I was just gonna mention too, there is a rubric, so, like, you're not on your own trying to figure out how to have it tells you exactly what needs to be in the application for your school to be accepted.
Yeah.
So it was pretty straightforward.
And it's not
easy,
hard.
but
Yeah,
straightforward.
it's not hard. It's more just thinking about our goal, explaining why you want to be part of the academy. So it should be a fairly straightforward process.
This is more of a question as I'm seeing the end of the cohort. Is there a after the fact, like a community-based resource or social media that we could stay connected and continue to contribute and talk with
Like
our
alumni?
cohort?
Yeah, we need to start an alumni,
That'd be
right?
great.
DLAC alumni, I think that would be great. I think a lot of us just connect, like even outside, like Christina and I were in the same cohort. A lot of the professionals tend to connect with each other, like
Yeah.
Almani was one of the schools that was in our cohort, and I pick up the phone and I call any one of those three at any moment. I'm like, hey, like, how are you doing this? And then they, you know, they kind of walk me through the process. So it's those connections. I think we're like communicating with each other from your alumni, but I think that would be great. I think a discussion, that would be Melinda's before she retires, like starting an alumni
Yeah.
page somewhere. But yes, definitely, that's a great idea. I think we need to discuss that and definitely get an alumni group going.
Well, I feel like we did come back. Of course, like our year ended kind of dramatically because of the
COVID.
pandemic.
Oh.
But we did come back like a year later. I think it was Brenda that organized it from your team. To find out where everyone was at, how it went, if everybody was still breathing.
And then we have TDLS as a reunion. We need to have alumni TDLS room, right?
Yeah.
A social.
And just one more comment, I know right now it feels like you're on an island, but when you come to DLAC, you all have, like, everyone from different schools all have that same goal, and they have the same feelings about, oh, we're meeting so much teacher resistance, we're meeting so much resistance from here and there. And right now it feels like you're alone, but when you come together, it's like, oh, you all feel the same.
I
And
love
that's
that.
why they're your cohorts.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of support when it comes to DLAC.
Thank you so much for being here, ladies. Thank you for joining us.